For years, Papoose was holding the crown as hip-hop's ultimate, untouchable, loyal husband. But right now, the timeline is officially calling him the most bitter man in the industry. According to public discussion, his sudden, hyper-aggressive takeover as Claressa Shields' manager isn't about building a sports empire at all. It's a desperately petty revenge plot. Fans are absolutely tearing him apart, claiming he is weaponizing a world-class boxing champion just to play mind games with his ex-critics argue he's parading Claressa around, hyping up her loyalty and focus in interviews a little too passionately. Wait a second. Loyalty? Focus? Internet reactions suggest those aren't just boxing compliments. Those are direct, subliminal missiles aimed straight at Remy Ma's recent public scandals. And the culture is cringing hard. The secondhand embarrassment is off the charts right now because that perfect, supportive husband mask hasn't just slipped, it is completely shattered. Supporters believe he's just moving on and getting to the money. But industry observers notice something way darker hiding in plain sight. Everyone thought Papoose was just in his executive bag, until the timeline connected the dots on exactly when he posts these over-the-top tributes. Because the internet found the exact moment this crossed the line from a legitimate business deal into a deeply messy divorce game. If you think this is just a coincidence, you haven't seen the footage. Because what he tried to pull off next, it completely blew up in his face, and the internet is currently revoking his nice guy card for good. Look, Claressa Shields is an absolute beast in the ring, a generational talent. But standing next to Papoose on these press runs, the internet is screaming that she looks less like a world champion and more like a pawn in the messiest game of emotional chess we've seen all year. Let's talk about the uncomfortable elephant in the room, the new Remy project. Critics argue that Papoose isn't just managing a fighter. He's aggressively trying to rebuild the exact same dynamic he lost. He's hovering. He's speaking for her. He's doing the absolute most, giving off serious pageant mom energy that is making everyone squirm. And it's not just how he acts. It's exactly what he is saying. According to public discussion, Papoose has completely hijacked Claressa's boxing narrative to air out his own marital trauma. When you listen to a traditional sports manager hype up their client, they talk about footwork, stamina, and knockout power. Not Papoose. Listen to the interviews. He keeps obsessively praising Claressa's discipline, her focus, and most glaringly, her loyalty. Why is a boxing manager talking about a fighter's loyalty to the program with absolute venom in his voice? Internet reactions suggest this isn't about boxing at all. Every time he says loyalty, the entire culture knows he is shooting a direct, undeniable subliminal right at Remy Ma. He is essentially holding Claressa up as a shiny, obedient anti-Remy, and the cringe factor is reaching hazardous levels. But here is where the story shifts from just embarrassing to deeply calculated. The timeline detectives pull the receipts, and the math is mating in the worst way possible. Industry observers noticed a terrifyingly specific pattern. Papoose doesn't just promote Claressa randomly. The absolute biggest, loudest, most aggressive PR pushes for Claressa drop on the exact same days Remy Ma is trending for her own personal drama. Remy gets spotted out at a party looking unbothered. Boom. 4 hours later, Papoose is dropping a massive Instagram manifesto about how Claressa is a true queen who stays out of streets. It is weaponized posting. It's a man desperately screaming, "Look what I can build. Look who respects me," at a brick wall. And the absolute wildest part of this entire spectacle is Claressa herself, because the internet is completely obsessed with her body language. Supporters believe Claressa is just letting him cook because he's getting her paid and expanding her brand into hip-hop media. But behind the scenes, body language experts on YouTube are having a field day in clip after clip. While Papoose is going on these emotionally charged, borderline manic rants about how women need to stay focused, Claressa is staring at the floor. She is giving awkward, tight-lipped nods. She looks like someone who suddenly realized they aren't a business partner. They are a prop in a hip-hop revenge fantasy. This overcompensation is causing a massive, undeniable shift in public perception. Papoose spent 2 decades building the ultimate good guy brand. He held Remy down through prison. He was the golden standard of husband material. Now, the blogs are turning on him viciously. He thought using a world-class athlete would prove he was the brains behind the operation. He thought it would make Remy look fumbling, lost, and regretful. Instead, his strategy is having the exact opposite effect. By doing the absolute most to prove he doesn't care, he is proving that he is obsessively, fundamentally broken over the split. And here is the ultimate consequence of the new Remy project. The streets are actually starting to side with Remy Ma. Before this, public opinion was split. People were dragging Remy for allegedly fumbling a good man. But Papoose's exhausting, transparent campaign with Claressa has completely flipped the script. The culture is looking at his petty behavior and collectively realizing maybe Remy had a reason to bounce. If this is how he acts in public, controlling the narrative, weaponizing a new woman's success, drowning in his own ego, what was he like behind closed doors? His desperation tour is actively cleaning up Remy's image. Which brings us to the most dangerous question hanging over this entire circus. Claressa Shields is not a pushover. She is known for her explosive temper and demanding absolute respect. So, does she actually realize that her historic sports legacy is rapidly devolving into a side plot for a Shade Room post? Right now, she is securing the bag. But what happens when the undisputed champion of the world realizes her manager is just using her to win an imaginary argument with his ex-wife? So, Papoose is pushing his luck. Claressa is caught in the crossfire, and the internet is laughing at him. But you guys, this was just a warm-up. Because what Papoose did in his next interview wasn't just a subliminal. It was a declaration of war. The internet was already side-eyeing the whole situation, but it took exactly one specific interview clip to drag this mess from the gossip blog straight onto the main stage of hip-hop debate. According to public discussion, the shift happened during a sit-down that was supposed to be about Claressa's upcoming fight schedule. The host throws out a standard softball question about managing female athletes. Instead of giving a PR-trained answer, Papoose takes a deep breath, and suddenly, we aren't talking about boxing anymore. We are talking about betrayal. He didn't say her name. He didn't have to. The moment those words left his mouth, the entire internet froze, distracted by the streets. It wasn't a boxing critique. It was a character assassination disguised as sports commentary. Critics argue that this single sentence completely destroyed whatever was left of the supportive manager facade. TikTokers and YouTube commentators descended on the clip like vultures. Frame-by-frame body language breakdowns started flooding the timeline. They weren't just analyzing the words. They were analyzing the rage behind them. Industry observers noticed that his voice literally shook when he said it. The facade of the unbothered, focused executive completely shattered in real time, exposing a guy who is still raw, bleeding, and looking for somewhere to aim his hurt. He wanted it to sound like business advice. It sounded like a diary entry. And the reaction was instantaneous. The public wasn't buying the tough guy executive routine. They were actively repulsed by it. Internet reactions suggest this was the exact turning point where sympathy for Papoose flatlined. The narrative flipped aggressively. It stopped being, poor Papoose, he gave her everything, and immediately became, okay, this is getting weird and obsessive. By trying to assert dominance, he completely fumbled the high ground. He went from being the victim of a messy breakup to the villain of his own PR campaign. But the pettiness didn't stop at interviews. Behind the scenes, the moves were getting even more calculated and, frankly, a little dark. Allegedly, Papoose started leveraging Claressa's star power to control the room and spaces where Remy used to dominate. Rumors started swirling that certain urban media outlets were told they couldn't get exclusive access to Claressa's camp if they were concurrently running positive coverage on Remy's new ventures. He wasn't just throwing subliminals on podcasts. He was actively trying to embargo his ex-wife's name in the industry. He is trying to build a fortress, using Claressa Shields as the bricks, just to keep Remy out. And fans are realizing that this new Remy project isn't just about recreating his past. It's an aggressive attempt to overwrite it. He wants to prove he is the star maker. If he can take a boxer and turn her into a hip-hop media darling, he proves that Remy's success was never about Remy. It was always about him. It's a massive ego trip, and it's completely transparent. Supporters believe he is playing a ruthless game of industry chess, securing his legacy separate from the relationship that defined him for 2 decades. But the vast majority of the public is watching this play out and coming to a very different conclusion. They see a man actively dismantling his own legendary reputation, piece by piece, out of pure spite. He thought he was playing 4D chess, but the internet is reading him like a children's book. He pushed all his chips to the center of the table. He threw the ultimate, undeniable shade. He assumed the culture would rally behind a loyal king, who finally spoke his truth. Right when everybody thought Papoose was just a harmless, heartbroken guy trying to move on, this completely different clip dropped. And y'all, it changed everything. Papoose didn't just throw shade. He dropped a nuke. But just when the internet thought the situation couldn't get worse, a new detail completely changed the narrative. That nuclear podcast clip wasn't a checkmate Papoose thought it was. It was a trap he set for himself. Act 4 is where the loyal king of hip-hop officially becomes the internet's punching bag. The fallout wasn't just bad, it was career-defining. Let's separate the actual facts from the timeline gossip. The confirmed public fact is that immediately after that interview aired, Papoose' engagement metrics completely inverted. Instead of praise for his business acumen, his comment sections were instantly locked down by pure, unfiltered ridicule. Just 48 hours after that podcast dropped, a massive timeline shift occurred. The narrative didn't just change, it violently course-corrected. Internet reactions suggest this was the exact fatal moment his master plan completely backfired. The public didn't see a boss defending his empire. They saw a deeply wounded man try and win a breakup by using a female athlete as a human shield. Critics argue that the absolute worst thing you can do on the internet is let them see you sweat. And Papoose wasn't just sweating. He was drowning in his own bitterness. By the end of the week, the situation escalated from fan mockery to actual industry isolation. Industry observers noticed a glaring shift in how other executives and media platforms were treating the Papoose and Claressa press run. Suddenly, prominent hip-hop platforms stopped framing them as a power duo. Instead, podcasters started openly laughing at the dynamic. It became a running joke. The confirmed fact is that his overcompensation actually overshadowed Claressa's athletic achievements during that specific press cycle. But the online speculation goes even deeper. Behind the scenes, rumors started leaking that Claressa's actual combat sports management team was getting incredibly frustrated. Speculators believe they realized that Papoose' personal vendetta was actively polluting her pristine athletic brand with cheap reality TV-level gossip. Right as the Free Claressa hashtag started picking up traction, another crucial timeline shift hit. Papoose realized he was losing the room. The sympathy was gone. The loyal husband armor was entirely stripped away, leaving behind a guy who looked completely obsessed with a woman who had supposedly moved on. When the culture decides you are corny, there is almost no coming back. Supporters believe he just miscalculated his PR strategy, but the broader consensus is that he permanently tainted his legacy. He wanted to punish Remy. Instead, he handed her the ultimate victory without her having to lift a single finger. Papoose is taking a massive L online right now. He is completely cornered by public opinion, mocked by the culture, and holding on to a strategy that is actively sinking his reputation. But if you think he's backing down, you don't know Pap, because his next move was pure desperation. So here's where the board is set right now. Papoose is screaming for attention, aggressively overcompensating with his new Remy project, and destroying his own legendary good guy reputation in real time. Claressa Shields is catching unnecessary strays in a messy hip-hop Cold War she never asked for. And Remy Ma, she is executing the most devastating PR strategy in the game, absolute deafening silence. According to public discussion, her total refusal to even acknowledge his existence is doing way more damage to Papoose' ego than any interview or diss track ever could. But that leaves us with the ultimate unanswered question. What happens when Claressa Shields finally wakes up and gets tired of her historic, undisputed boxing legacy being completely overshadowed by her manager's bitter divorce drama? I want to hear from you guys in the comments right now. Is Papoose genuinely just being a smart executive pushing his new star? Or is he acting like a deeply bitter ex trying desperately to make Remy jealous? Drop your truth down below. And while you're down there, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because the industry tea never stops spilling. But before you click off, remember how I said Remy was just being totally silent? Well, behind the scenes, rumors are starting to leak that she isn't just ignoring him. She's allegedly making massive, quiet industry calls to block his moves. And when you find out who she just partnered with, you'll realize this war hasn't even started.